Oh well, let's look at those videos. Huh. Wow. This is just... Oh. I gotta stop this. Hey guys, it's Dagon123 and I'm back with another video on my top 5 RPGs of all time. Oh, is that my phone? Who's calling? Who is this? It's you. From the future.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Well, here's the thing. Your video isn't HD. I can't hear you. And you have Arkwright's Fantasia as number 5. And we both know The Lost Odyssey was better.
So, I already made it.
Correction. Not anymore. Number 5. Right around 2004, JRPGs started to shift towards a Star Ocean action RPG oriented nature. And you know what? Fuck that. If it ain't turn-based, then I'm tempted never to touch it. But in 2007 I got my wish with Archinelico, Melody of Alemia for the PS2. Developed by Gust, Archinelico was the game I had been waiting for. Archinelico follows Liner Barset, this blonde-haired guy here, who is a knight of Alemia, trying to prove to his father he's not in fact a pampered turd. He goes out to help Lady Shiralia, and ends up in the lower world trying to get back to Plantina and stop the viruses. By far the best parts of this game are its music and stories. The hymns are absolutely beautiful, and how it weaves itself into every fabric of the game is really just awesome, both in writing and execution. And the pacing of the game is great. The only con I'd say is the game is pretty easy. However, unlike, say, Final Fantasy VII, which has indoctrinated us all from childhood with, "You must grind forever," with Archinelico, the game is best played without grinding, making each boss battle exciting, and just letting one be enthralled with the story. Number 4. So you know why everything after Final Fantasy X sucked? It's because of this guy right here. See, this is Hironobu Sakaguchi. And he also happens to be the creator of Final Fantasy, who left right after 10 to pursue his own interests, one of which was his own game company, Mistwalker. In 2007, they released Final Fantasy Lost Odyssey. Lost Odyssey for the Xbox 360. But seriously, folks, this game should have been 13. It's a travesty that this game didn't soar, because it's in every way Final Fantasy's successor. Amazing story, a battle system that is still very nostalgic, but at the same time builds off of what's tried and true, and was even made on the Unreal Engine. Imagine that. You hear that, Square Enix? If it ain't broke, don't fucking break it to pieces, just because you can. Story is fantastic, the game is long, the characters are phenomenal. I mean, hell, this game is worth owning for Jensen alone.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, well, I don't wear out in bed.
And best of all, the DLC is just an extra dungeon after the game is over, not the game's ending. You mad? Number 3. Back when we were fighting over how many bits each system had, instead of how much RAM they had in them, the PlayStation days were better days indeed. And you know what every RPG player had in 2000? That's right, The Legend of Dragoon. Holy crap, this game was, and still is, awesome. In fact, its following is so dedicated that not only have they petitioned for Sony to release it in the PSN in North America, why you no release good game, but fans are even creating a sequel. Now that's dedication. Legend of Dragoon follows Dart, who is a warrior coming back to his hometown when he sees this giant dragon in the forest, a mysterious girl, and his town disturbed by royal types. And let's just say you won't be able to put this game down. One of the largest criticisms this game got, both fan and official, was that it was a Final Fantasy VII clone. I mean, Dart kinda looks like Cloud, but really, is that such a bad thing? Is that not what every Final Fantasy fan wants? That aside, it takes one 5 minutes playing this game to realize not only is it leagues different than Final Fantasy VII, it's, dare I say, better? Number 2. If I were to tell you that Square teamed up with Nintendo to create a Mario RPG, you'd probably think I was crazy. Well, guess what? They did in 1996, and it's number 2 on my list. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars was an instant classic when it first came out. Many expected it to be a real cutesy RPG, but what ended up being one of the best RPGs ever made. Yeah, I know. Shut up about Earthbound and Chrono Trigger already. Jesus! I get it. Come on. You follow Mario as he's about to save Princess Toadstool. Again. And you fight Bowser. And for the first time ever, you find out Mario's world is much bigger than just the Mushroom Kingdom. And that world is filled with fantastic characters from the brilliant minds of Square.
Why did you have to go?
You even get 2 new characters, Geno and Mallow. And no matter how much you beg, Geno will never be in Smash Brothers. So stop posting about it on every fucking video with anything related to Super Mario RPG. With arguably some of the best graphics for the SNES, a fantastic story, and some of the most memorable music in gaming history, like Forest Maze.
At this point, it doesn't matter, because it keeps running inside my head and it won't leave unless I blow it out with a bullet.
It's no wonder this game is my number 2. So let's recap. Number 5 is Art and Ellico, Melody of Olympia for PS2. Number 4 is Lost Odyssey for Xbox 360. Number 3 is The Legend of Dragoon for PlayStation 1. Number 2 is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars for Super Nintendo. And number 1. Yeah, that's right. My favorite Final Fantasy, my favorite Square game, and my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy IX for PlayStation 1. Final Fantasy IX is the tour de force for Square. Nobuo Uematsu even said himself it was his favorite game as well in the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy IX is the perfect RPG, and in my opinion, and the opinion of many, the best Final Fantasy of all time. Instead of going with the dreary, dark sci-fantasy feel 7 and 8 went in, 9 harkened back to what made Final Fantasy tick, a Victorian-esque fantasy world, and a cast of characters that are so likable, it's hard not to get lost in it. A massive amount of side questing, an extremely emotion-filled story, Final Fantasy IX was so associatable because each of the characters go through and ask the questions we ask ourselves. Why are we here? Why am I myself? What am I supposed to do? The graphics were top-notch, the music is amazing, the setting fantastic, the characters inspiring, and the legacy untouchable. So there was no way it was going to be anything other than number 1. Kupo.